Your dog's been shaking their head all week. You checked their ears, maybe wiped them out with a cotton ball, figured that would handle it. It didn't. A few days later, they're pawing at the same ear, tilting their head a little, and you're starting to wonder if you're actually making this worse instead of better. You might be, but probably not for the reason you think. You've probably already looked up dog ear infection and landed on some version of the same 3 or 4 remedies everyone recommends. Maybe you tried one. Maybe it helped for a couple days and then the smell came back anyway. Or the scratching started right back up like nothing happened. We went past the usual remedy lists and looked at what actually explains that pattern. And it's simpler than you'd think. And it has nothing to do with anything you did wrong. It's because ear infection isn't actually one thing, even though it gets talked about like it is. What's happening in your dog's ear right now is one of 3 genuinely different problems, and they can look nearly identical from where you're standing with a flashlight. Bacteria, yeast, and mites. 3 different causes, 3 different fixes, and treating the wrong one is exactly how people end up stuck. Cleaning the same ear every few weeks without ever actually fixing it. Yeast overgrowth usually shows up as a musty, almost sweet smell, with dark, waxy buildup, and it tends to build up gradually over days. Bacterial infections often bring a sharper, worse smell, with discharge that's more yellow or greenish, and they can escalate faster, sometimes within a day or 2. Mites are different again. They cause a dry, dark, coffee ground-looking debris, intense itching, and they're the one of the 3 that can spread to other pets in the house. Treat a mite problem like a yeast infection, and the mites keep going while you wonder why nothing's improving. Treat a bacterial infection like it's just dirty ears and clean it more aggressively, and you can actually push the problem deeper instead of clearing it. So, before anything else, here's the line that actually matters. And it's simpler than the 3 categories make it sound. If what you're seeing is mild, if your dog's ears just seem a little dirty or slightly itchy with no strong odor, no pain when you touch the area, and no head tilting, that's genuinely something you can manage at home. If there's a strong smell, thick discharge, your dog flinches when you touch their ear, or their head is tilting to one side, that's not a home project anymore. That combination points towards something deeper, and pushing forward with a home remedy at that point isn't cautious. It's just delayed treatment. You can actually check this tonight instead of guessing from memory. Gently lift your dog's ear flap and look at the color and texture of what's inside, in good light, not the dim glow of a phone flashlight. Light tan, or slightly waxy, is normal for most dogs. Dark brown, almost black, and crumbly like dry coffee grounds points toward mites. A wet, dark, greasy buildup with a musty smell points toward yeast. Anything closer to yellow or green, especially with a thicker consistency, points toward bacteria. None of this replaces an actual diagnosis, but it tells you enough to know whether you're in the mild bucket or the vet bucket, which is the only decision that actually matters tonight. This is also the part that explains why so many home remedies for this specific issue backfire, even when the ingredient itself is fine everywhere else. The ear canal isn't like skin or a mouth. It's a narrow, curved tube that ends at the eardrum, and you cannot see whether that eardrum is intact just by looking. If it's damaged, and you put nearly anything liquid down that canal, from vinegar to oils to plain water, it can reach the middle ear and cause real, lasting damage, including permanent hearing loss. That's not true of a paw or a mouth. There's no equivalent risk putting oats in a bath. This is the one part of your dog's body where a wrong guess doesn't just fail to help, it can actively make things worse. That's why almost every home remedy list you'll find online, the vinegar rinses, the oils, the tea tree drops, comes with warnings buried a few paragraphs down that most people skim past. Tea tree oil specifically is toxic to dogs, even in small amounts, and should never go anywhere near their ears. Hydrogen peroxide and rubbing alcohol are both commonly recommended online, and both can burn already irritated tissue and make inflammation worse instead of better. And even ingredients considered generally safe elsewhere, like apple cider vinegar, can sting badly and cause real irritation if the skin inside the ear is already broken down from scratching. So if your dog fits the mild category, here's what to actually do and what to specifically avoid while doing it. Start with a vet-formulated ear cleaner made specifically for dogs, not a homemade liquid mixture. These are pH balanced for a dog's ear canal and built to dry as they clean, instead of leaving moisture behind, which matters more than almost anything else here, since moisture sitting in the canal is exactly what lets yeast and bacteria take hold in the first place. Apply it the way the bottle actually describes, not the way it feels natural to. Fill the ear canal. Gently massage the base of the ear for several seconds. You will usually hear a soft squelching sound. That's normal and means it is actually working through the canal. Then let your dog shake their head, which throws off the loosened debris on its own. Only after that do you wipe the visible outer ear and the parts of the canal you can actually see with a cotton ball. Never a cotton swab. Pushing a swab into the canal packs debris down deeper instead of removing it. And it is one of the most common ways people accidentally injure the eardrum without realizing it. Do this once every few days while things settle, not daily. Cleaning too often is its own mistake, and one people don't expect. It strips away the ear's natural protective oils and the good bacteria that are supposed to be there, which can trigger the exact irritation you're trying to prevent in the first place. If your dog swims often or just finished a bath, dry the ears afterward with a soft towel, and a drying agent made for this specific purpose afterward genuinely helps, especially for floppy-eared breeds where airflow barely reaches the canal naturally. That single habit prevents more mild cases than almost anything else on this list, because moisture is the common thread behind most of this in the first place. Watch how things look over the next 2 to 3 days, because this is the checkpoint that actually decides what happens next. If it's improving, less odor, less scratching, your dog seems more comfortable. Keep going with the same routine. If it's not improving, or if anything gets worse at any point, that's your answer. This was never the mild case to begin with, and it's time for an actual exam, not a stronger version of the same routine. And if it does come to that, here's what actually happens, because a lot of the hesitation people feel about going in comes from not knowing what to expect. Your vet will look inside the canal with a lighted scope to check whether the eardrum is intact, which answers the exact question a home remedy can't safely guess at. In most cases, they'll take a quick sample of the discharge and look at it under a microscope right there, which tells them within minutes whether they're dealing with yeast, bacteria, or both, instead of guessing from smell and color the way we've been doing at home. That single step is the difference between a treatment that's targeted and one that's a shot in the dark. From there, it's usually a short course of eardrops matched to whatever they actually found, not a guess dressed up as a remedy. One more thing worth knowing, because it explains why this keeps happening to the same dogs over and over. Breeds with floppy or hairy ears trap heat and moisture against the canal constantly, which is why Cocker Spaniels, Poodles, and similar breeds deal with this far more than dogs with upright ears. If that's your dog, the drying habit isn't optional maintenance. It's the actual difference between dealing with this once and dealing with it every few months for the rest of their life. But breed shape isn't the only reason this keeps coming back, and it's not even the biggest one for a lot of dogs. If you've cleaned and dried religiously and your dog's ears still flare up every few weeks like clockwork, the actual cause might not be in the ear at all. It's in the bowl. Allergies, especially food allergies, are behind a huge share of ear problems that keep recurring no matter how carefully you manage the ear itself. When a dog's body reacts to something in their diet, One of the most common places that reaction shows up isn't the stomach, it's the skin lining the ear canal. That inflammation changes the environment inside the ear, makes it warmer and more prone to excess wax, and creates exactly the conditions yeast and bacteria need to take hold again, even in ears you've been cleaning perfectly. This is why some owners feel like they're doing everything right and still stuck in the same cycle every month. They're treating the ear correctly and completely missing that the ear was never the actual source of the problem. If your dog's ear issues keep returning on a predictable pattern despite consistent care, and especially if they're also dealing with itchy paws or skin issues at the same time, that combination is worth mentioning to your vet specifically as a possible food sensitivity, not just another ear cleaning. You didn't do anything wrong by not knowing this. Almost nobody explains it this way because "add this to their ears" gets more clicks than "here's how to tell what you're actually dealing with first." But the second one is the version that actually keeps your dog out of the vet's office instead of sending you back every few weeks. Check your dog's ears tonight with what you now know, and if what you see makes sense as the mild case, start the routine today. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you catch the next one before the next problem shows up. And tell us in the comments, has your dog dealt with this before? And did anyone ever actually explain to you what kind of problem it was? We read every comment, and we want to know what people have actually been told versus what's actually true.